Hello, this is Surya Saha, and welcome to the Insurtech Story Podcast, the platform to spread knowledge on insurance innovation, digital disruptions, and entrepreneurship. Our website, insurtechstory.com, and we are available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Today, we are going to discuss on a very interesting and a very burning topic in the platform of Web3, that is, how Metaverse can transform insurance. And for now, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Prashant Kurse, who is the executive partner for insurance at IBM. At IBM, Prashant is responsible for driving profitable growth of the multi-billion-dollar global insurance P&L, and he is recognized as a global thought leader on technology driven insurance business innovations. Prashant also works with the global startup ecosystem on applying cutting edge technology innovations in financial services. He recently was working with one such Silicon Valley startup to help financial services firms build platforms, automate, and orchestrate niche processes using smart contract technology. Lastly, Prashant was recognized as among the top 10 most promising business leaders in India in 2000. He has also co authored a handbook on risk management and won various accolades from Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, among others. He has an MBA from IIM Bangalore and a BTech in chemical engineering from NIT Trichy. A warm welcome to you, Prashant, and I'm very excited to have you for the show.
Thank you, Surya. Thank you. And it's a privilege to be here.
Would you like to tell our audiences a bit more about yourself and your role at IBM?
Yeah, so at IBM, I lead the insurance practice. So what I typically do is, apart from driving profitable growth and leading the delivery organization, I also work on cutting edge innovations. How do cutting edge technologies like metaverse, blockchain, AI, quantum, how will they transform the industry? Where will their applications be? And start building solutions that would make meaningful impact um, into the industry. So how will blockchain impact life insurance? How will AI impact PNC carriers? Right. So it's basically looking at these innovations and bringing them to life. I also help drive I also work with the startup ecosystem to see how could we use them and solve some of the problems that our customers have instead of just trying to solve everything by ourselves. So I also try to partner with them where need be to bring the best of all the worlds to our customers.
Right. Yeah, this Web3, of course, and the emerging tech metaverse is already an interesting concept for the financial services, and it's even more interesting when it comes to insurance. You know, as the dynamic of the industry is completely different and how the regulation works out here. So, moving on to our discussion for today, uh, the metaverse, as we know it, is set to reshape the insurance industry in the next 5 to 10 years, at least as it claims to be. Can you give us your thoughts on how this can happen in reality, like in the ways of training, new revenue streams, or distribution, or any other kind of an innovation that it might bring to the insurance value chain?
Yeah, so thanks, Surya. It's a great question. So for me, the way I see metaverse started in the gaming industry. Today, it's gaining a lot of traction there. It's also a social media channel, but almost every large insurance carrier, every major bank is today looking at having some presence there because they all see this disrupting their marketplaces. They also see this as a great engagement mechanism. But today, the platforms are widely siloed and disparate. But soon we'll see some kind of consolidation, some kind of move towards a particular set of platforms. I believe that metaverse will become mainstream in the next 3 to 4 years. once Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, all of them, and Microsoft come with their versions of metaverse, and when we start understanding how to work across all these metaverses, right? So experimentation is underway. Mainstream is very near, because I also see a lot of my customers. This wasn't last year, but this year a lot of our customers have come to us and said, "Okay, what are you doing in metaverse?" And we've already built some virtual branches for some of our customers. So
Mm.
everybody's experimenting. The other thing I would also say is metaverse is not going to be successful in itself. For me, when I look at metaverse is a combination of five different technologies, right? Metaverse in itself. Then you have quantum, because metaverse will need very high-powered quantum computers. Because some of the AI that we are talking about, when you go to a metaverse, it's a virtual reality world where it's extremely secure. So it gives you an opportunity to have a very private conversation with your customers in a very secure world, in a virtual reality world without traveling. But when
Right.
you have this conversation, you need to have an intelligent conversation. So if you are an insurance customer and you come and say, okay, what will my retirement profile be, of my investments, right? What should my illustrations be? You're going to be talking either to a physical human being, or you're going to be talking to an AI. And some of these AI will have to be extremely high powered, extremely complex, and they cannot run on existing computers. So it will have to run on the quantum. So metaverse means it's going to have quantum embedded in it.
Yeah.
And it is also going to, the connectivity is going to be to 6G. So 6G, 5G, satellite connectivity is going to come into play. The third part is AI. As we know, it is going to change. You will need vector algorithms, some of the um, AI which is very specific to metaverse, very specific to quantum computing, to drive some of these conversations, particularly in the space of conversational AI. So, and pricing and segmentation and crunching the volume of data that will get generated in metaverse. So that is going to change. And ultimately, when you transact in metaverse, you will not be able to transact with the rupee notes or the Google Pay or the Phone Pays. You will have to transact through digital currencies, which is where blockchain comes in. And blockchain
Mm.
is going to underpin all of these and enable transactions. So for me, metaverse is going to be a combination of all of these technologies. Um, and I think the world has started the journey on blockchain. They've started experimenting on metaverse. Once quantum becomes live in the next 3 years with mainstream applications, I think all of this will start coming together and becoming a meaningful use case for our customers. So that's my vision of metaverse in general. Now, let me tell you what's the context of metaverse in insurance, right? I mean, when I look at metaverse in insurance, I see metaverse not just being a customer engagement channel. Yes, we will have virtual customers go on to a metaverse platform, let's say like a Meta, or the Microsoft Fabric. I mean, or the latest Apple metaverse that we are talking about, right? It'll become it'll have a platform, but it's not just going to be a customer engagement channel. It is also going, even the devices that you use in metaverse, they would be able to do a retina scan and tell you whether you have cancer, what is your BP, do you have high blood pressure, what is your SpO2, um, what's your lipid profile. So there's a lot of things that a simple retina scan can do. And those devices will become very intelligent. It will be intrusive, but it will be additive. It will be value adding. So the devices for that will operate the metaverse will also add value to the transactions we do. So for me, metaverse is going to be a very different experience, and insurance carriers will be able to operate at a very different level, very personalized level, with a larger quality and volume of data in this virtual reality world. And that's all going to be that's not too far away. With some of the innovations we are already seeing in the marketplace, this is some of these technologies solutions already exist. It's just matter of applying these technologies to use cases. So this is how I see metaverse coming into insurance, as an engagement channel, but also as a way to interact, gather data, and enrich transactions.
Right. Yeah. Well said. You know, Moving on to our next discussion, what according to you will be the new business opportunities that metaverse can create for the insurance industry? But if you can, give some of your thought leaderships on the personalization of services or how customer touch points can be, addressed better with this technology, if any possibilities, exist in that front.
Yeah, so for me, Metaverse is going to drive a lot of new opportunities for insurance carriers.
Right.
The first thing is it'll create today when I go to an agent, when I go to a bank branch to buy insurance or have a discussion on my investments for retirement services or have a transaction. I'm in an open world. Somebody can hear my conversations. It's not a secure
Yeah.
private space. Metaverse will create a very secure private space where you can interact on a one-on-one basis with your customer for an insurance carrier. Metaverse will also give you a larger canvas. So it's not just going to be secure and personal. You will be able to, in the three-dimensional world, change parameters. So if you have an investment profile and you have the investment profile over the next 20 years, you can tweak parameters in a three-dimensional world and see the profile changing. So it's going to give you a richer experience
Hmm.
as you interact with the customer. So that means the insurance carriers who will be able to give a richer experience to their customers. So that is one use case, right? And that's one way it will impact, right? Two is it will be a lot more richer and intelligent
Hmm.
in the interactions. Let's take the example of a health insurance carrier, right? When I'm underwriting a person, I rely on the information that is provided to me by the customer. In the metaverse world, the retina scan will give you a lot of that information. You'll be able to gather information from social media, external information sources, combine all that, and then talk to the customer, right? Talk to them in with conversational AI and see what their risk profiles are, what kind of insurance they want, how much should the coverages be. So it's going to be intelligent. It's also going to be richer, and it's going to use conversational AI, which means that the third part that insurance carriers will need to do is transform their data infrastructure. They will need to bring high-powered AI systems to drive this conversation. It could be, I gave a lot of examples on the life and health side, but let's take a simple example of a car accident. When you have a claim in the metaverse, we are already working on some use cases where you can recreate the car accident based on the accident reports and police reports in the three-dimensional world, in the VR world, to see whether the accident was right, whether the damage on the car was because of the accident, based on the angle, based on recreation in a three-dimensional world. So claim adjudication will become much more richer because now you can recreate the incident. So AI will become very key in all these use cases, right? In all these scenarios, right?
Hmm.
So that's the third part. The fourth part will be a high level of self-service and automation. Today, um, instead of talking to a contact center rep or talking to an agent, you'll directly go on and try to solve all your issues, questions, nominee changes, changes in address. I mean, some of these basic things will happen. It will also drive a lot of automation where claims would get auto adjudicated. Policies will become automatically underwritten. I mean, there's a lot of automation that will also happen because paper is no longer there in the value chain. So a lot of automation will seamlessly flow into the metaverse, and you can see this visually and start performing some of the insurance functions. The fifth use case is health and prevention. I already see a lot of metaverse solutions which are encouraging people to go towards better health. So it's going to focus more on prevention rather than reaction. So when you talk about, I have seen solutions where some of the companies are encouraging people to come and participate in health games, right? I mean, a virtual tennis session just to keep the body active, and this is going to be sponsored by insurance carriers to prevent onset of let's say obesity or keep the heart efficient and well oiled, right? So there's going to be a lot of health and prevention solutions that insurance carriers will provide in the metaverse, because now you can work, move, you can play in the three-dimensional world, instead of just sitting in a chair, right? So then there is going to be greater and more continuous interaction. One of the challenges that insurance has always faced is it's a two-event industry. When you want to sell the policy, talk to the customer, and when there is a claim, you talk to the customer. But in between all this, there's very little chances to interact with the customer. Um, Particularly, I mean, in PNC, in at least personal lines, you have to constantly renew your policy, so you keep talking at least once a year. But in life insurance policies, once you buy the insurance policy, you hardly have any interaction with the customer. Metaverse is going to be very different, because now you have a personal advisor. You can constantly talk to the advisor. You can constantly The advisor can talk back to you, provide you information, keep you engaged. A simple thing like return to work, in workplace insurance, right? I mean, if you have an accident on the workplace, and you go to the hospital, or you are disabled for some time and you have to come back to work, the metaverse will build scenarios where you're constantly engaged. It can recommend books to you, it can recommend games to you. So it's going to become a digital advisor, and it's going to change its role. So insurers will go away from just being a product provider to being an advisor and a partner, a life partner and a health
Hmm.
partner and a advisor to our customers, right? The seventh, the next use case, the next thing I see is a reduction in risk. Metaverse is going to reduce the need for travel. So car insurance might change. Do you really need car insurance to the level you today we have? I mean, that it will
This
definitely
is
impact travel.
quite interesting.
Yeah. And we already have use cases in industrial hazards, right? I mean, commercial insurance, you are insuring workplace and workers, but you're also insuring boilers, reactors, and all. And today we have live solutions deployed in production where somebody can virtualize the entire reactor, which is 300, 400 degrees centigrade inside, and see, what the wall pressures are, and change the wall pressures based on IoT connected sensors remotely in an AC control room, right? I mean, these are already there. Metaverse is going to reduce risk even in the commercial insurance space. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to see the impact. It will also change some of these industries. Do you really need car insurance? And if you need, then what's the nature of the insurance? So it's going to be interesting to see how metaverse, once it reduces risk, what is the impact on insurance industry? It's definitely going to reduce carbon footprint. So the other part would be, it'll it'll build. We are all marching towards 2050 carbon reduction goals, and we already know we are going to spend $13 trillion as a global economy. I mean, as a planet, and we are still not going to meet the 2050 goals. Metaverse is going to play a big role because carbon footprint is reduced because of all the virtualization and digitization, right? So it's going to be additive in terms of improving the quality of life, reducing the fog. I mean, definitely reducing pollution outside. So that's that. Then there are some other use cases like,
But just to interrupt, Prashant here, do you think it will contribute to the carbon emission footprint?
I think it will, because reduced travel means you don't no longer need to be on the road.
Yeah, but
uh,
like on the other side, when you say the reduce pollution and other environmental factors, but on the
because
contrary, blockchain or any sort of a token related technology, right? That operates with a huge amount of power it consumes, right? So do you really think that metaverse can actually reduce the footprint, or to an extent that can also contribute to the increase of carbon footprint, which is again a concern for the environment?
it is, when you take it from the lens of blockchain, mining of blockchain leads to a lot of carbon emissions, right? But when
Right.
you and assume that we are not in the world of mined tokens, but we are in the world of, let's say, CBDCs issued by the Central
Hmm.
Monetary Authority, right? I mean, then there is no concept of At least I don't believe that
Right.
there is going to be carbon emissions when RBI releases CBDC, digital rupee, and we are going to use digital rupee in the metaverse.
Hmm.
Correct. So, but on the other hand, I'm not going to be stepping out of the house for a meeting. So if I need to, we
Yeah.
already see that in spatial. Many of the meetings I've seen in even in India get conducted on the spatial where you upload a presentation on spatial and you go and do the meeting. Now, consider the same situation where an agent or an advisor wants to talk to you. He
Hmm.
doesn't need to come to your house. You can go into the metaverse and he can set up a meeting with you and make the sale for the policy, right? So it's going to definitely impact carbon footprint
Right. Yeah.
and be additive, right? And the last part is it's going to reduce fraud in a big way because a lot of fraud is done because I mean, for lack of a better term, people can fudge their
Hmm.
biometrics when they apply, right? I mean, metaverse with the retina scans, with the suppose you're applying for a health insurance policy or let's say a life insurance policy. Metaverse would have cameras, not just the inside camera. They'll have cameras outside, which can do a scan and see what's your body structure, what's your body mass index. Combine that with the information in the retina scan and give you a proper health profile. So the amount of fraud that happens in life and health insurance will come down significantly. Um, so will and these are wide applications that can happen, right? I mean, just not in life and health, but even in property and casualty, there can be a reduction in fraud because of this virtual recreation of incidents, accidents, and so on. So it's definitely going to make a huge difference in fraud. So these are the different places where there would be opportunities for insurance carriers. Um, and it's going to opportunities not just to interact with customers but opportunities for new products. I mean, the other part we didn't talk about is NFTs and metaverse is going to be a challenging environment too. There is going to be a risk in the metaverse, so there's going to be metaverse insurance to insure the transactions you do in metaverse. So it's going to be challenging for it. It's going to create an entire new cyber insurance product line. But more importantly, for regulators like IRDAI, it's going to be very challenging to monitor and manage customer interactions because there'll need to be audit capability of transactions that happen on metaverse. So marrying virtual and digital, not just both from a customer standpoint for transactions he has done on either of these channels to also the regulator on monitoring the quality of these transactions is going to be interesting, and it's going to create its own set of challenges that insurance companies will have to adhere to, which also means it's going to create opportunities for people to create maybe startups or solutions that will address some of these challenges.
Right. Yeah. Insurance companies, of course, can be an early adopter of metaverse technologies, unlike if you see in other financial services functions. Insurance was the last one to adopt to emerging technologies, right? But at the same time, when it comes to metaverse, it can be an early adopter, and it can be challenging to get started when addressing a topic as vast as the metaverse. So, what do you think, or rather, where do you think insurers should focus first, or rather, where do they start to begin their metaverse journey?
You rightly said, Surya, that insurance is never been the first innovator,
Yeah,
and very smartly so because they want um, because insurance is also a regulated industry
yeah,
and it's a conservative industry. When we do a transaction, we want to make sure that the transaction holds and um, it and there's a level of trust that the customers can put and on the carrier, right? So I believe that insurers will naturally gravitate towards the metaverse from a customer engagement standpoint. But to do that, there has to be wider adoption of metaverse headsets, right? Some of the virtual reality headsets or augmented reality headsets there needs to be a broader adoption of this product. I am assuming that once Google and Microsoft come in a big way, or even Meta comes with the new set of products, there will come a time when everybody will adopt this, right? So, from a customer journey standpoint, I think most insurance carriers will do it. They'll probably do it after banks. I'm already seeing this. Banks have already created their virtual branches. I mean, I've seen retail do it a lot faster. I mean, I see a lot of a lot of European entities building virtual branches in Decentraland, and then banks using some of these platforms like Spatial to just experiment and see how it feels. I think insurance carriers have already started soliciting information and observing what the other companies are doing. And I think next year, 2023, is when they'll start experimenting and building virtual branches on the metaverse. So that's one part. I think where the metaverse can help in reducing risk and improving, giving greater insights to customers, those parts of insurance will adopt it faster and first and better, right? Like health insurance or life insurance, because life insurance has always had the problem of how do I engage with my customers. So I think this will give them an opportunity and bragging rights, so they will adopt metaverse. Health insurance, naturally, we gravitate towards it because of the potential of the headsets and what you can do, even preventative solutions. So I think that is going to be the first set who will adopt it more aggressively. PNC, in my view, will be probably a later adopter once there are some real meaningful use cases beyond customer engagement. So I think this is my view. I think my recommendation to everybody is um, to start experimenting on metaverse, start looking at some use cases and seeing how the feel is, how the look and feel is, how do transactions look like, and also start looking at blockchain and
Yeah.
experimenting on blockchain, because metaverse and blockchain will go hand in hand. You will need to have solutions, applications written on the blockchain to facilitate some of the transactions that happen in the metaverse,
Yeah.
and then bring it back to the digital infrastructure that already exists in their data centers or on the cloud, right? So, I would strongly recommend insurance carriers and also some of the startups to um, start with experimentation and on both metaverse and blockchain. That would be a great start.
Yeah. I think also to add to it, the careers, or rather, even including the technology startups who are supporting the insurance companies, or the insurtechs, would also try, to first give a right meaning to the metaverse with respect to their context, right? What would exactly metaverse mean for the insurance companies or the insurers? So that clarity in the definition is also needed for the professionals and the industry. So, thank you very much for this fantastic discussion, and thank you for sharing your thoughts, Prashant. And it was a truly delight to have you as our guest.
Thank you, Surya. I mean, loved talking to you, loved exchanging the ideas, and thank you for the opportunity, for inviting me and giving me the privilege to talk to the team at large.
My pleasure, Prashant. And lastly, to wrap this up, thank you for listening and see you at our next episode. Take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now.